Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Extra Time TV. This is Andre.
I'm Kevon Campbell.
And Kevon, the big game is coming out this weekend. The El Clasico. Real Madrid take on Barcelona. Real Madrid recently won the FIFA Club World Cup against Gremio. Ronaldo deciding that final, winning multiple trophies this season.
Free kick, finally.
Yep, it's been a while, but he won. A lot of people, before we get into it, we did a poll on our new Twitter page. Yeah. And it's still running, so you can still go on our Twitter page at EXTV. And apparently 74% of our voters, out of 350 people, said that they don't think that the FIFA World Club Cup is important. That's a topic altogether. But, Kevon, the big game is Saturday. Real Madrid is back from their trip. What do you think is going to happen?
Andre, long trip for Real, but they won, which they haven't been doing much this season. And it's going to be a change because this Clasico is a big disparity between the two teams. Barca on top, 11 points ahead of Madrid, who are actually in fourth. So I think coming into the game, Barca will have less pressure than Madrid. And for Zidane, it's going to be a lot of pressure because, yes, they won the World Club Cup, but back in Spain, that doesn't really mean anything. This game means everything. And Barca, they come into the game also with a different tactic to that of previous Clásicos. I loved what Valverde did. He plays a 4-4-2 now, compensating for the lack of Neymar and Ousmane Dembele. And he doesn't trust Paco Alcacer too much, so it's two up front, and he's going to have that four in the cross of midfield with Iniesta out left, cutting in because he has Alba supporting him on the left as well. Yeah. So that 4-4-2 can pose different obstacles to what Madrid is normally accustomed to facing Barcelona. But I think the key could be Paulinho because he's had some amazing stats this season. He's had the most goals from midfielder for Barcelona than any other player since Cesc Fabregas, 5 years ago. So I want to see how Real Madrid approach the game, and Zidane, time will tell to see if he can actually get the better of Valverde because he hasn't really been doing much this season in terms of tactic-wise.
Yep, this season is a monumental, not a monumental, but a pretty large gap. We've seen this before, particularly between these two teams, and strangely enough, Real Madrid did come back. I think when Capello was the coach.
That was a remarkable comeback. You need to check that out.
Everybody wrote off Real Madrid. They said it was over. And
2007.
He won a Liga, and guess what? He got fired. Yeah. But he didn't win the Champions League. That's how high they are. But it's 11 points. I think Barcelona on 42. Yeah. And Real Madrid have a game in hand. But if Barcelona win, obviously they pull clear. And it will be a large gap. Yeah. But one of the things I noticed about Real Madrid this season is their goal scoring has decreased compared to last season. I think last season between Benzema, Gareth Bale and Ronaldo, and now it has dropped significantly. What do you think about Real Madrid's goal scoring output being dropped? Do you think that's a major contributor to why they are so far behind?
I think so, but I also think that they lost some key of the bench players that could rotate easily. They lost James. They lost Pepe. And those two guys, they are big players in the dressing room and coming off the bench. So, and Bale hasn't been fit. Yeah. And that means that even though they are supremely talented, putting that pressure on somebody like Asensio and Nacho and Lucas Vazquez, that is not what you want to do at this stage when you have had other players like Pepe and James who could have done the job. So I think that Madrid has been stretched a bit. Injuries hasn't helped. The perpetual Bale injuries is never good. And also, when you look at Benzema and Ronaldo hasn't been on form, and his alter position of coming more centrally sometimes contradicts what Benzema normally does because he's in Benzema's space. Yeah. So Benzema usually plays at 9.5. Can't really do that anymore because Ronnie is there, and you need to do with Ronnie. So I think that has prohibited Real from really getting on the front foot in a lot of games. And they can probably get better as the season progresses, but right now, I don't fancy them much against this La Blaugrana team.
Yeah, just to look at some more stats. At this time last year, the combination of Ronaldo, Bale, and Benzema had 19 goals put together. Wow. This same time, this year, they have a tally of 8. Wow. That's a large drop. So, just an interesting stat just to throw in there. So now, let's jump over to Barcelona. One of the things I noticed about Barcelona this year, in addition to what you said, I really like that the tactics were adjusted due to the exit of Neymar and so on. Yeah. I really like Paulinho and what they have done with him. But something that's very noticeable at Barcelona is that they may not be blowing teams away, but they are not conceding goals. I think, and you all can correct me if I'm wrong, fans, I think their away record is the best in Europe. They've only conceded 3 goals in away games. which is impressive for a side that likes to play attacking football. Sure, it's not the Pep Guardiola style of football.
Yeah.
It's a bit more balanced, but surely this has a lot to do with Barcelona pulling away, and also Messi has contributed to, I think, 18 or 19 of the overall goals for Barcelona this season. So, you know, where Real Madrid are lacking, it seems Barcelona has stepped up their game, where they are scoring goals and they are hardly conceding. So I think, you know, for me, that will be a deciding factor in the game on Saturday. What do you think about that, Kevon?
Spot on, Andre, because when you look at this team, Valverde, he has a more pragmatic approach to previous Barca managers like Luis Enrique Guardiola. It's less frantic, less frenetic, less placed on pressing. It's more reserved and more balanced, Valverde. And he has placed great emphasis on that back four and also playing off from the back. But key to this Barca team has been the partnership of Hart and Samuel Umtiti. Those two have been great. And the right back signings have been good. Nelson Semedo, the Portuguese right back, has been fantastic, supplemented by Sergio Roberto. But for this game, Umtiti is going to be out. He tore his hamstring last month.
Yeah.
He's been out for the 2 months. Not good. But the Vermonita is going to be in, Andre. Thomas Vermaelen.
Yes.
No, he isn't the best player.
I'm trying to keep a straight face.
He isn't the best player to come in because he has had an injury problem and he isn't as fit and as mobile as Umtiti, but he can play. From a Belgian captain, he can play. So that can be a point where Real Madrid can attack, but Vermaelen, he should be able to hold his own. So himself and Piqué should be good at the back. And going forward, Iniesta will cut in because he isn't going to be playing centrally. That's going to be up to Busquets and Paulinho. And again, that front two, Messi and Suarez. Suarez started the season poorly. 2 goals in the last game, back on form. He's the kind of guy, Andre, that he thrives on confidence. When he has that chip on his shoulder, to me, he's obviously unplayable. He can beat anyone, can turn anyone. So if I'm Ramos or if I'm Varane, I would like facing a confident Luis Suarez.
Or hungry.
Yeah. Could be even worse.
I couldn't resist saying that. But you know, another person that really stood out for me that I didn't pay much attention to was Alcacer.
Yeah, Paco.
Yes, he's a player who just did his job. He wasn't really, you know, the first choice on anybody's mind, but he slowly kind of worked his way into an important role in the Barcelona. And unfortunately, they'll be missing him for this game, I believe. He got injured against Deportivo over the weekend. He is a guy that has been silently doing the job because, as you said, you know, Barcelona has tried to compensate for that gap left by Neymar. You know, with the wing-back attacks, it's more aggressive now. What do you think his absence will affect Barcelona's play in any way?
I do because when you look at Paco Alcacer, came across from Valencia. He had a good record at Valencia. And for Spain, he was starting striker for a while, 3 years ago. Then when he was at Barcelona, the occasion probably got the better of him. So he needed time to settle in and understand the culture of Barcelona. And this season, when Suarez had an off form, Paco came in and did a good job.
Yeah.
So he may not start come Saturday. And because Suarez is doing good, Valverde may play more Suarez a bit. But off the bench, Paco would be a great asset because, again, tired Madrid defenders. And if, let's say, Valverde wants to switch things up a bit, he can bring in Paco. He can make those darting runs because he's much quicker than Suarez and Messi, straight and running. So he can really confuse probably Ramos and Varane when he's doing that. So I can see that, let's say it's 0-0, 60th minute, bring on Paco Alcacer. He can do the job.
Okay, well, you know, a lot of our fans, you know, and I'd like to thank the fans for this, you know, they're responding very well to our polls. We wanted to ask them their thoughts of who's going to win. And apparently a whopping 53%, which is not a whopping, I just felt like saying that. I think that Barcelona are going to win, obviously 38%, Real Madrid, and 9% think that they're going to draw. So we'll see how that turns out. The poll is still open until Saturday, so you know, we'll keep that updated. You can check us out on our Facebook page. But Kevon, you know, a lot of fuel has been, you know, these Clásicos are always heated.
Yeah.
There's history.
Stoking the fire.
Yeah, fire stroking and all that. There's a lot of history here, and you know, while we were setting up for the shoot, I read that you know, Barcelona has indicated that they are not going to give the guard of honor to Real Madrid, who have won the, you know, obviously they won the World Club Cup.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Definitely adds fuel and fire, and whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I know they do that a lot in England, have the guards of honor of the teams, but I mean, it's your decision if to do it or not, and you can't force players to do something, especially when you have such a heated rivalry.
Yeah.
So I'm two ways about it. They don't have to do it. I don't see it as a lack of sportsmanship. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary either.
Kind of just shaking up hands before the game. You just do it because FIFA says you need to do it, but I don't think it needs to be done.
It's frowned upon, but not necessary.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Kevon, if you had to identify a key player for each team that you think would be decisive in the Clasico, who do you think?
I'm going to go outside the box with this Real Madrid one because I could have gone with Ronaldo, but I'm going to go with Luka Modric. Main being is that in that game, Real Madrid can have the better of the Barca midfield if they control the ball, because it's going to be 3-on-2. The three Madrid midfielders, Casemiro, Modric, and Toni Kroos against Busquets and Paulinho.
Yeah.
So if they can have that ball at a tight three, negate Iniesta, negate Rakitic, then they can actually go forward. And Modric is Madrid's metronome, so he can just dictate everything. So if he's on the game, they do that, they separate Iniesta and Rakitic, then Madrid can feed that front three. What Barca player do you think?
I mean, it'll be very easy to say Leo Messi.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, but it's really, not the easy way out, because this season when when Barcelona started off really slow, they were not really scoring goals, they were winning. Messi was the guy who stepped up and created a lot of the goal scoring chances. And, due to off form Suarez, they haven't scored as much as they normally did. If Suarez was in tip-top form, they probably would have had a goal difference, which would have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think no matter what, he has a great record in the Clasico in terms of goal scoring. So, in terms of important players, I think Leo Messi is definitely that guy.
Yeah.
If you asked me this last season, I would probably said the same thing for a different reason, because the team, I believe, was stronger last year. But I think he is that player. He's kind of grooming these new players. Iniesta is already on his way out. And this is Messi, showing that, Neymar's gone. We have a whole bunch of new young players. And an example of that is in the last game against Deportivo, there were many cases where he probably could have scored and he rolled the ball off to Suarez. And that is kind of leadership that he may not be vocal, but I think it has been very useful to this Barcelona team this year. And games like this, which is the biggest game of the year for these guys, even bigger than the Champions League, sometimes I argue, they hate each other so much, Leo Messi. So from a tactical point of view, I think he's very important, and I like how he adapted to the new system that Barcelona is using. And Paulinho has been benefiting a lot from this system, because he always finds his way in the box and gets some goals. And I really like what I'm seeing. So for Barcelona, for me, it's Messi.
Yeah, and Paulinho has a physicality that Andre, I can't remember the last time Barca had that physical guy running into the box or in the box. Maybe since Patrick Kluivert or something, or Van Bommel. Sorry,
And maybe Touré to an extent, I guess.
Yeah.
And even then, he was more technical and flashy.
He was up in the back at the Champions League final. So it was actually how good Touré was. Is.
Yeah, true. So with that being said, I actually didn't say who my Real Madrid player was. I would like to say Ronaldo, because it seems like I'm picking easy choices, but the team is exhausted. I always have this issue with the FIFA Club World Cup and normal club fixtures, that in terms of the teams that usually do well in the FIFA Club World Cup, they usually are exhausted. So Ronaldo will have to step it up. There's been a lot of criticism, and I think these are the games where you see your big players, and Ronaldo is that talisman which will grab his troops. I was going to say Modric, but Cristiano Ronaldo. So Kevon, with that being said, final thoughts. How do you think the game is going to end up?
Barca win.
Yes, I agree. I think Barcelona is going to win as well. I think based on all the statistics that we mounted off and all the statistics available, Barcelona is going to win. Our cameraman is unhappy with that, but it looks that way based on the stats. But let us know what you think in the comment section below, because football is amazing. And comment in the comment section below. So with that being said, Kevon, where can we find you?
Kev868 on Instagram and Twitter.
You can find me at Andre Suklal on Twitter and Instagram. And be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and also follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, and leave questions because we answer them all.
Yes.
Thank you for watching another episode of Extra Time TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram. We'll leave the links below.